Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So students, in the previous class we had completed the chapter that is acid, bases and salt. Let me remind you that the things that we have studied in the last class, students. So we were talking about some of the salts, the compounds and salt compounds, and in which we had seen the preparation properties of a sodium chloride, sodium hydroxide, sodium hydrogen carbonate, sodium carbonate, calcium oxychloride, which is a bleaching powder, and then recrystallization, water of crystallization, how water of crystallization generally take place, and finally plaster of Paris. Let me remind you what happened in case of a crystallization and plaster of Paris. So, if we talk about the plaster of Paris, students, so plaster of Paris, the formula is calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Why the name is given hemi? Because it consisting of half number of molecules in it. If suppose it will consisting of more than that, then we will give the name according to the number of molecules of water present in it. When the gypsum, which is a CaSO4 .2H2O, when it is heated, then it will produces calcium sulfate hemihydrate, which is called as plaster of Paris, plus 3/2. It means 1.5 molecule of water is also released. So gypsum is responsible for the formation of the plaster of Paris. Now this plaster of Paris, students, actually the name itself came out because it is usually it was carried through the Paris, and it was used in plastering the walls. That's why the name is given plaster of Paris. Now the plaster of Paris, when we mix water in it, it gets converted into solid hard mass. And this is called as the gypsum, student, because what happened here, we are actually recrystallizing the plaster of Paris. You see, when we heat the gypsum, then it get converted into plaster of Paris and water is released. If the heating continues, then what happened? Then the half molecule of water which is present in the calcium sulfate will also get reduced and it will become anhydrous calcium sulfate. Okay, and when we add water into the calcium sulfate, hemihydrate, it means in the plaster of Paris, it will get converted into gypsum, which is a solid hard mass. Okay, so this is how we can say that the gypsum or the plaster of Paris formation happens. There are a lot of different uses of the plaster of Paris, student, including it is used in casting statues, it is used in joining the fractured bones, it is also used used by dentists, and plaster of Paris, it is used in ornaments, in making ornaments, and this plaster of Paris, a lot of different crafts are also made with the help of it. So there are a lot of different uses of the plaster of Paris is there, students. Okay, so I hope you have understood the chapter acid, bases and salt and all the different compound which is related to that chapter. Now today we will going to start with a new chapter, and this new chapter is from biology, and the name of the chapter is control and coordination. Control and coordination, students. So first of all, you see that whatever the changes that is happening around us or that happen, what happened, we used to react according to the changes. The changes can be long term, can be for a short period of time, but whatever the changes happen, we always react to them. And these changes are actually called as the stimulus. Stimulus is what? Any change that happen in our environment is called as stimulus. Okay, and we used to respond, the person, the living organism used to respond according to the changes, and that is called as respond. So the changes that is happening is called stimuli, and when we react and respond according to the situation to the stimuli, that is called as respond, student. Okay, so let me write here what is stimuli. So the changes in the environment to which the organism respond and react. Is called stimuli. So the changes that happen in the environment to which a person responds, that is called as stimuli. These changes can be anything, students. So we can say here, that is, so the changes can be heat, light, sound, smell, touch. It can be touch, pressure, pain, water, force of gravity, etc. Okay, so a lot of different changes that happen around us, which is called as the stimuli, student. And stimuli can be these things. Okay, and the response that a person used to do, that is called as response. And this response usually a living organism do by showing some movement. So we can also add it here, that is the response of organism to the stimulus is usually in the form of some movement in their body part. Okay, so response of the organism to the stimulus that happens by showing some movement according to the stimuli. Like what happens, students? Suppose a person is there and you are standing and a hot utensils comes to your means you accidentally touch a hot utensil. What happened? You will immediately pull your hand, or if you are accidentally you hold a hot utensil, you will leave the utensil. So this is the immediate response. So what kind of a movement you see, students, that if you touch a hot utensil, you immediately take off your hand from the hot utensil, and this is the kind of a movement which is shown by the body according to the changing. What change? The utensil. The temperature of the utensil is changed here. It is because of the hot temperature. So that is stimulus. According to that change, our body used to show the response. Okay, so the response shows is in the movement of the body, and the stimulus is the heat. Okay. Likewise, students, a lot of things are there. Suppose sun is very bright, and at that time when you go outside, what happened? Your eyes, it used to contract. Okay, your pupil contract. So this is what? This is because of the stimulus. So stimulus is the light, and the movement of the eye is the response that you are showing. Same thing happen when you are coming through a very bright light to a dark place. At that time you are not able to see the thing clearly, so you start widening your eye or your pupil in order to see the things present in the room. So here we can say that the dark is what is the stimulus, and the movement which is shown by our eyes is the response shown by us. Okay, so this is how we used to show the response. Now, not only the animal students, not only the human being, but the plants also show some response. Like if you touch a mimosa plant, what will happen? They used to fold their leaves. This is what? This is the stimulus, because when you touch it, that is the stimulus, that is a kind of a change is felt by that of the plant, and they immediately show the response by folding up their leaves. So the response, the stimulus and the response is shown by the plant. Likewise, student, you have seen sunflower. So sunflower used to rotate, used to move it according to the change in the movement of the sun. Okay, the revolution of the sun, you can say, from the day to night or from day to evening. So why is this so? Because the light is the stimulus and the response is the movement of the sunflower. Okay, so this is how we can say that not only the human being but the plants also show the movement to the stimulus. Then students, if you prick a earthworm with a needle, or if you touch a snail, what happened? The snail used to collect its body inside its shell. Same thing happened with the tortoise. When you touch it, it used to protect itself, and thus that touch is what it is, a stimulus, and the response they shows it by contracting, by shrinking their body inside the shell. That is the response shown by them. If you touch a earthworm, student, they also shrink. This is the kind of a response shown by them. Other example, when you see a dog, you get frightened, or when a dog starts barking on you, then you get frightened and start running. So running is what it is, the response, and barking is what that is the stimulus. So I hope you have understood here one thing, and that is the changes which is occurring in the environment is the stimulus, and the response that we used to show according to the change that happen in the environment is called as the response, students. Okay, now we have understood here one more thing, and that is all the organisms, including plant and animals, all the organisms including plants and animals respond to the various stimuli. For example, bending of plants towards light. Bending of plants towards light. Then amoeba, reaction of amoeba when the food is nearby to its surface. When the food particle is close to its surface. Then similarly students, animals also shows the response, like deer. Animals also show the responses like deer students. So deer used to run away when in danger, or when sees a lion or any carnivorous animals. So these are what students, these are some of the changes, and according to the changes, that is the stimulus, what kind of a response has been shown by the different living organisms. Okay. Now, whenever a response used to take place, it is not like that a single organ used to do that, but every organ, they coordinate with each other in order to give the reaction to the stimulus, and this is called as the coordination. So, we can write here, that is the working together. That is the working together, of the various organs, of the various organs of an organism in a systematic manner, so as to produce a proper response, so as to produce a proper response to the stimulus, is called coordination. Okay, is called coordination. So coordination means what students? Working together of the various organs of an organism in a systematic manner in order to produce a proper response. How we can use this word coordination? Means we should work in a coordination. It means that we should coordinate with each other. We should help each other. It means we all work together. The same thing in the body also. Whenever we talk about the coordination, here all the various body organ in the organism, they work together, and so they work together, and that we call as the coordination student. Okay, so this is just an introduction of the control and coordination. Now let us move on, and we will start to understand that how coordination occur in case of animals. Okay. Coordination in animals. So, in case of animal students, except sponges, all the multicellular organism, they are having nerve cells, they are having the network of the nerve cells, and these nerve cells, they help in coordinating, they help in carrying the informations. Okay, so we can say that whether it is a small organism or a large organism, nervous system is responsible for coordination. Now, nervous system, how this nervous system is made up of, students? So basically there are very small nerve cells are there. These nerve cells, they join together, they form a system, and collectively that is called as the nervous system. So this nervous system is basically work in every organism, in multicellular organism, and especially in animals. Like suppose if we talk in case of a hydra. So in case of a hydra, there is a network of a nerve cells are there which used to carry the information, and according to that the body used to respond to the stimulus. In case of the higher animals, not only the nerve cells are responsible, but yes, hormonal system, which is we called as a endocrine system, is also responsible in the coordination. So here we can write it, that is, in multicellular animals having specialized nerve cells, they are having a specialized cells called nerve cells, which respond to the stimuli and also coordinate their activities. Okay. Nerve cells forms nervous system. That forms the nervous system. Okay. In the nervous system, especially if we talk about the hydra, the nerve cells, they are joined together and collectively they form the nervous system. What happened in case of a higher animals? So we can say that in higher animals, the control and coordination takes place through nervous system as well as hormonal system. Called endocrine system. So in case of a higher animal, the control and coordination process take place with the help of, not only with the help of the nervous system, but yes, endocrine system is also involved in it. Okay. Now, before we go and understood the endocrine and the nervous system one by one, we should know that in our body you have heard about a thing, and that is sense organ. So we all are having sense organ. All the human beings, they are having the sense organ, and basically if we will see that what are the different sense organ and how many type of a sense organ are there. So basically there are 5 type of a sense organ is there, which will include our eyes, our nose, our ears, our skin, which is for the touch, and our tongue, which is for the taste. So basically these are what? These are the different sense organs, and these all sense organs consisting of a receptors. And these receptors are basically they are very sensitive to a feeling and to a particular stimulus, and they show that kind of changes according to that. Okay, so let us see that what are the different sense organ and receptors are there in the different sense organ. We had given the name also to these receptors, students. So, talking about the receptors, so if we talk about the 5 sense organs in our body, including nose, eyes, ear, skin, tongue. Okay, and these sense organs consist of receptors. Consisting of receptors. What is receptor, student? These all consisting of receptors, okay, but receptor means they are, it is the specialized cells which are basically sensitive to any stimuli, a particular stimuli. So receptor is a cell or group of cells. Cells or group of cells in the sense organ, which is sensitive to a particular type of stimulus. Basically, it is sensitive to a particular type of a stimulus, that can be a touch, that can be light, that can be related to the smell, that can be related to the taste. So they are sensitive to a particular type of a stimuli, students. And these receptors, we had also given name to it. So let me write it that what it is for and what are the different names of the receptors are there. So in case of the eyes have light receptor. Eyes have light receptor. Then ears have sound receptor. Ears have sound receptor. Then nose has smell receptor. These have smell receptor. These have smell receptor. Then tongue has taste receptor. These have taste receptor. And skin. Skin has touch receptor, feel. So receptor has receptor for touch, then pressure, heat, pain, etc. It means it is related to the field, students. Okay, so this is what these are the different kind of receptors which is present at the different sense organs. And yes, we are having some names also, like in case of our eyes we are having in photoreceptor, then olfactory receptor, then phonoreceptor, then thermoreceptor, then gustroreceptors. These are the different names we had given for the receptors. Okay.